Eleanor Roosevelt, Albert Einstein, John Lennon, Bill Gates, Richard Branson, of course, very probably Mozart, Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah, these are all famous dyslexics, and it's important, by the way, that we talk about famous dyslexics. It's important that we show them, because actually a lot of the time when we find out that we're dyslexic, we feel a bit lost. We might feel a little bit ashamed of ourselves. We might feel as though somehow we have something that's wrong with us. And it's nice to see people like Mozart, Da Vinci, Albert Einstein, John Lennon, Eleanor Roosevelt. It's nice to see these people as role models, or at least as people who are also dyslexic. Yeah, I mean, one of the problems, though, is that what we often do is we turn them into a cult. There's kind of a cult of dyslexics. And it's difficult, really, to separate that almost that cult of dyslexics from this need we have to feel as though we're not broken. So on the one hand, I have on my website, dyslexiabytes.org, I have on my website a list of famous dyslexics. But I don't want that to be sort of idolizing these people. One of the reasons, of course, is that actually these people often are so successful that it's difficult for me to be successful like that. I mean, I don't know how I can possibly be as successful as Bill Gates. It just doesn't make any sense to me to say that, me and Bill Gates belong together in that respect. Einstein, I'm not Einstein, and similarly, not only can I not attain this, not only can I not reach this or achieve this, but I don't know exactly how people like Einstein represent me. People like Richard Branson and Bill Gates represent me. I mean, is there some aspect of this cult of dyslexics where these famous dyslexics are supposed to represent me somehow? Because I don't know what that means. They're not the same as me. I mean, a lot of the time they may have become rich because they had rich parents, or they were fortunate in life, or maybe they're just maths geniuses and I'm not a maths genius, or there's something about these people that I don't have, and that to put them in this kind of category of these are the dyslexics and I'm one of them, it doesn't work like that, because quite honestly I'm not one of them, and that's okay. It doesn't mean I'm worse than them. It just means that, they are them and I am me. And I don't want to have this cult of dyslexics where I look at Richard Branson, I look at Steve Jobs, and I look at, I look at John Lennon and say, they represent me, because I don't know that they do. Then, of course, there's the knotty question, the difficult question of what we do when we don't like certain famous dyslexics. So in the early 2000s, the US President George W. Bush was outside his fan base. He was quite widely disliked, and he's dyslexic. Well, what do we do with that? Do we say, we've got John Lennon, we've got Einstein, we've got Bill Gates, these are people we like, let's put them in the cult of dyslexics, let's highlight them and shine a light on these people as somehow something to do with me, but let's not do it with George W. Bush. What are we doing? Are we being unfair? Are we being a little bit hypocritical? I mean, again, I think there's sufficient evidence to suggest that Donald Trump may well be dyslexic. I'm not saying he is, but I think he probably is. I mean, there's enough evidence to suppose that he's dyslexic. Well, for those people who don't like Donald Trump, what do we do with that information? Do we just say, yeah, there are dyslexics and then there's people like Trump? We don't count them. Because Trump counts and George W. Bush counts just as much as Einstein and John Lennon count, just as much as Eleanor Roosevelt counts. What we can't do is we can't be inconsistent about this. Yeah, I think perhaps the biggest question here is there is an ethical question at stake. So if we talk about these famous dyslexics, if we talk about these incredibly successful dyslexics, these superstar dyslexics, this cult of dyslexics, if we talk about these people, one of the questions we might want to ask is, well, what's going on ethically when we don't talk about the dyslexics who didn't make it through school? When we don't talk about the dyslexics who ended up in prison? When we don't talk about the ones who ended up at the bottom of the economic pile? What are we doing ethically when we idolize certain successful dyslexics and shine a light on them as famous dyslexics, and then we sweep under the carpet those people who didn't make it? I think there's a serious ethical question to be asked about that. And I'm not comfortable doing it. I'm comfortable asking the question, but I'm not comfortable sweeping the non-successful dyslexics under the carpet, because why would we do that? It's simply a form of ableism. And this cult of dyslexics is, regardless of whether we wish it to be, it's a form of ableism. Absolutely it is. So yeah, I mean, on the one hand, it's great, to talk about famous dyslexics. It's great to say that many dyslexics can be very successful, and that as a dyslexic, you can also be successful. It's really good to do that. It's not so good to idolize and to set on some kind of pedestal or plinth some dyslexics at the expense of other dyslexics, because I don't know what we're doing when we do that, and it makes me very, very uncomfortable. Yeah.